Okay. Hey, welcome back to Blue Ridge Homestead. Oh, wow, what a difference a week and a half makes. I'm 6'2", and these tomatoes are waist high, and they haven't really been planted that long at all. We went on a vacation about a week and a half, and came back, and it just went crazy. So we've got tomatoes that are about the size of baseballs. We got plants that are 2-3 foot tall that have leaned away from the cattle panel trellis, and today we're going to spend some time kind of opening them up some, letting some air flow through, getting the leaves that are on the ground, that are touching the ground, get them off the ground where the pest and everything can enter. So we'll start trimming these. Whenever you water your tomato plants, be kind of mindful about splashing water and dirt mainly up on top of the leaves that are on the bottom. But if you eliminate those leaves that are touching the ground or that are about a foot off the ground, you kind of really give your tomatoes a fighting chance as far as warding off any other pest. So today we're going to kind of give you a tutorial on how to prune your tomatoes, and we're going to start tying them and training them to this the best we can. Like I said, some of them, such as this one here, it's way away from the cattle panel. It's probably 2 feet maybe away, so it'll be a stretch to get that to bend to our wheel now. Run a real risk of snapping it all. So we'll go over that, tying them up, and we'll go over suckering your tomato plants also. So y'all stick with us. Catch you on the next segment. So it's not a huge deal, say if the actual stem of the plant touches. You see right here, this tomato plant has touched, and it has actually put roots down into the ground. So we're not cutting that off. The main thing we want to do is eliminate the leaves touching the earth. So what you got is ones like this. That is a leaf. So is this, that actually touches the ground. So you clip him off, just throw him off to the side, put in your compost, feed it to your goats, feed it to your chickens, your pig, whatever you got. But this right here is how disease and a lot of pests will enter your tomato plants and cause you a lot of trouble. So you just go in here, clip it off, like I say, just pull it out. You can see where this one touched the ground. See, the leaf is curling up, dying. The end of the actual leaf has broke off, died, all the way back to where it's just barely touching the ground. So it keeps them moist underneath of them where there ain't supposed to be a lot of moisture. You do want some, but tomatoes they like even moisture. They like to be watered almost daily. You want to water your tomatoes. The problem you get when your tomatoes get about that big and they start turning red, you'll notice if you get a big shower, rains and it's been dry, they will suck that moisture up as quick and as fast as they can, and the tomatoes will actually get stretch marks on them. Some of them will actually bust open from taking up so much water so fast. The fruit can't grow for the water. So let's talk a little bit about suckering your tomato plants. A sucker is where you have a limb on your tomato plant. So you'll have your tomato plant, then you'll have your leaves that'll come out, your little branches. See, there is no suckers on this because I have already took them off. So that one's good. But you come over here where we have the tomato forest, the big jungle, and you'll see that some of our tomato plants, not all, but some have suckers. This would be a sucker, and it has grown a lot bigger than we should have ever let it get. This would also be a sucker. The good thing about suckers are they just snap right off. Ones that are about this size, I will clip them. All right, so you can see here where we have trimmed back, or trimmed up rather, some of the plants. And we went on up through this side. We haven't came back down the other side yet. Just a few here on the end to kind of show you what you're looking for. The air is flowing good through the plants, which really does help them out. Okay, so what we've done is went through the bottoms, trimmed everything up about a foot. Some of them ain't quite a foot, but just as long as you keep the mud from getting splashed up on the leaves is the main thing there. One thing you can do, you can put sawdust down, pine needles or pine straw as some people call it. That seems to help. Straw, you can use some straw. I wouldn't use anything that the water can't go through, otherwise you're going to run into a pretty serious problem of your plants are going to die because they ain't going to have any water. So these plants here were leaning out to about right here. They were on the ground. So what we've done is we put up a kind of a makeshift trellis of sorts. Just use some old tobacco sticks, a sassafras pole. This is just some electrical wire, and the idea is to get them up off the ground and to start moving them the direction of the trellis. So eventually we'll get them over there close enough that we can hook them onto it, which this one's getting pretty close already as it is, but I don't really want to stretch him too far as he'll most likely snap. So to keep everything up and against it, we have invested in these clips, and these little vegetable clips, I think is what most people call them. You can get them on a lot of different websites. We've had these about 2 years now, I guess, and we take them down every fall, put them back in this same bag, and we just keep reusing them. So these I actually bought off of Wish, and they've held up very well. I think it was maybe $3 for 200 of them or so, something like that. So very inexpensive. But to use one, you just take your plant and you kind of want to sort them out so that you don't mash two of them together. But you take your plant, you take your clip, put your plant next to the thing you're trying to clip it onto, whether that be a piece of wire or whatever you got. This is a cattle panel, so, and you just push the clips, the two ends together. It'll click. Once it clicks, it's attached. And I mean, taking them apart is just as easy. You push one side in, push it through, and the clip pops open. So very easy, and a lot easier than a lot of things you might do driving fence posts and weaving twine back and forth. This has been here 2 years now, and we put tomatoes in the same spot every year. One thing you do if you do that is amend your soil to whatever crop it is that you're growing. If you're going to grow it in the same spot every year, make sure that you amend the soil for that crop. And by amending, if it needs nitrogen, add nitrogen to the soil, because last year's crop will have depleted some of that nitrogen out of the soil. So I'm going to go on up through here and clip some more of these on and get these tomatoes stuck together so the vines can go up and make it a lot easier on us to see pest. We can pick the fruit a lot easier. And like I said, some of these tomatoes, if you look down here, some of these are already fruiting and they're looking really well. I mean, this one here, they're not quite baseball size. We got a couple up through there that are, and we definitely have plenty of blooms coming. There's blooms, big old cluster right there, little tomatoes on it. And then if you can look in the sunlight, kind of the way the sun comes from that side towards us, if you see all these little hairs sticking out, that is a good sign of a really good healthy tomato plant. Like, we've cut some of the leaves off the bottom and such, and my hands are stained green. They're just so much sap coming out of those. So that's a good sign that they are very healthy and doing well. So we probably won't add much more fertilizer to them than what they've already got. We'll definitely just keep the water on them. There's some few little dead leaves up there that you want to kind of pay attention to your plants. And if something's wrong, they'll tell you. If they turn yellow, they probably need some nitrogen or they've got too much water. So just things to look at. So we'll come back to you in just a few minutes. So these clamps or clips, they open up like this and just kind of give you a better, closer up idea. They clamp together like that. So your tomato plant goes in here and whatever you're clamping it to goes in there. Now to unclamp them, you just push down on this tab and slide it out. So it's very, very simple. So clamp onto it, just bring it up to it. You can almost do it with one hand. So very simple, very easy, and you can reuse them over and over and over. So they don't really hurt the plant anyway. I could see last year using them. They seem to be very durable as well. So you get some stragglers like this hanging out, fall over, wind hit them. You can lean them up like this. You can actually clamp the two pieces together with them and then take another one and hook that clamp where you've clamped the two together like so, and then lean it in and clip it on, and now you've kind of chained them together. So this one here is not quite long enough to do that yet, but it's doing really well. It looks like this one may early on have got damaged or something, maybe a rabbit or something bit the top out of it or something maybe, because it's got a lot of limbs going every which direction. So we just keep moving on down the way. One thing that I might mention is, say you run out of these clips. Well, once your tomatoes are at head height, you can go down to the bottom where you first clipped it to it and take those clamps off and move them up, because once they get one or two clamps on them, they don't really need the bottom ones anymore, because that particular tomato vine has been trained to go straight up. So, like I said, you just clip them together. Ones like these, just clip them together, and then take another and come in here behind it and clip it. And now if you can't get it to something to actually clip it onto the cattle panel or whatever it may be that you're using, just clamp it and clip it to the one closest to it that's actually clamped to it. It'll hold them up, so, and doesn't hurt them. You would think that it would scar them all to pieces, but the edges of them are rounded. The only thing that's really has any sharp edges is going to be the actual part where it clips together. So, but yeah, we're going to go through here and we're going to tie them all up. We're going to see which one's the tallest. It looks like down here might be the tallest. That looks like some Cherokee purples. So we got some good looking Cherokee purples right here. That's a real nice one there. But we've got Cherokee purple, brandywines, mortgage lifters, Rutgers, and I think we've got 2 or 3 yellow tomatoes in there. Do like a little variety with your tomatoes. Oh, and we got some Romas over there as well. Romas are very good making fresh salsa or canning your salsa. Really good salsa tomato. So that's pretty much what we got going on today. So we'll catch you in the next video. We have a Facebook group, Blue Ridge Homestead Facebook group. We have an Instagram page, and obviously we have a YouTube page here as well. So we invite you to come join us on any of those forums there. This is Lewis and Sally for Blue Ridge Homestead saying come grow with us.